Why do we hate great men? In our current cultural moment, it appears we have ceased to celebrate the achievements of history's greatest individuals. No longer do we regard iconic men as grand reformers, artful statesmen, and inspirational leaders, but rather, we look upon them with scorn and contempt. Whether it's because we judge history by our 21st century standards, or simply because we're blind to the political pressure heaped upon historians to manipulate the narrative, the critiques flow freely. What's more, these attacks are often exaggerated, misled, or just plain dishonest. They're pernicious, and they represent a complete and total antipathy towards the tremendous achievements of outstanding individuals. Nowhere is the spirit of resentment better exemplified than in contemporary discussions of France's greatest leader, Napoleon Bonaparte. Now, I'm sure you've heard what they say. Napoleon was a tyrant, a quintessential warmonger, and an egomaniac who was ultimately brought down by his own hubris. This ill-informed, incorrect image couldn't be further from the truth. I can make an entire video about why these claims are false, but for now, let's just ask a couple of questions. If Napoleon was such a warmonger, how is it that twice as many wars were declared on him than he declared on others? If Napoleon was so ruthless in consolidating power and punishing dissent, why did he repeatedly forgive the men who kept betraying him? If Napoleon was indeed a 19th century Hitler in the making, why did so many intelligent and liberal-minded Europeans visit him in Paris and in exile on both Elba and St. Helena? Maybe, just maybe, it's because Napoleon wasn't the villain we've made him out to be. The ideas that underpin our modern world, meritocracy, equality before the law, property rights, religious toleration, modern secular education, and sound finances, were championed, consolidated, codified, and geographically extended by Napoleon. To them he added rational and efficient local administration, an end to rural banditry, the encouragement of science and the arts, the abolition of feudalism, and the greatest codification of laws since the fall of the Roman Empire. Even more impressively, all of this was achieved despite the fact he came from a small Mediterranean island that was an afterthought to the rest of Europe, and French wasn't even his first language. When the Corsican independence movement forced him to flee his homeland in 1793, he entered France as a penniless political refugee. 6 years later, he became the head of the nation. So, why does our culture love to hate Napoleon? Why do we hate great men? I believe we hate great men because deep down, we know we'll never measure up to them and will never reach their same heights of achievement. Rather than compete with them on merit, we prefer to tear them down and destroy their legacy. By doing so, however, we deceive ourselves by both underestimating the miracle of their accomplishments and overestimating our ability to bring about such advancements ourselves. Of course, no man is perfect, and everyone inevitably makes mistakes. But to think that in the same position we wouldn't have made mistakes of our own is prideful and naive. We take the easy way out and content ourselves by thinking that, had it been us, we could have done things better. As such, we are left with no respect for the rigor required to attain the summit of success. Personally, I'm well aware of the fact I'll never be as great a leader as Napoleon. I know I'll never be as courageous, competent, influential, or inspiring as he was. This recognition, however, doesn't lead me to resentment or despair. Rather, it encourages me on to the pursuit of excellence. Attempting to tear down Napoleon's legacy won't get us anywhere. Attempting to imitate it will. I believe it's time we stop hating great men and start being inspired by them. So, long live Napoleon, and long live great men.